Reform Council brings in British value flag rules. What? I'm going to read into this more from the BBC, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an article from the BBC with the headline: The Reform Council brings in British value flag rules. Yeah. Leicestershire County Council's new reform leadership has scrapped the authority's flag flying policy in its first cabinet meeting. Yeah, because, you know, it's not about running day-to-day business in the council. No, it's all about flags, apparently, because that's apparently the biggest priority when it comes to reform in the UK. Like, are you serious? Like, honestly, why are we having a conversation about flags? Like, it's just nonsense. This council should be focusing on prioritising the needs of the people of Leicestershire and then making their lives better, not flapping about over flags, and why they have an issue with certain flags. And I just don't understand. It's not like we have. It's not like we're having flags from the 1940s in Germany, for example. Here, you know, nobody is descending away from their so-called British values. And what is British values anyway? For me, this is just a nonce story from a council who, honestly, in my opinion, just don't know what they're doing. We've seen reports of some councils who have quit their jobs, some who have just gone AWOL because they've taken this role thinking it's going to be nice and easy. And the moment they get into the job, they find out there's a lot of work involved and they can't hack it. And my message to anyone who joins reform and is taking on these roles, you better be prepared to put the work in, because if you're not prepared to put the work in, get out of the way so somebody else can do it for you. Because this job matters. People's lives matter. It's really, really important from account, not just from obviously from the political and MPs establishment. I'm talking about from council level. Like, how serious are these guys taking their roles? I very much doubt they're taking their roles seriously. But let's read into this story nonetheless, guys. So the move approved at a meeting on Thursday means a previously agreed schedule of flags to be displayed outside County Hall in Glenfield has been discontinued. The list included flags, marked events celebrating LGBTQ plus Pride Month. So what have we got against LGBTQ plus people? What have they got against them? Can we have an answer? Gypsy Roma. What have you got against Gypsy people? That's again another, and that's another form of discrimination. Traveller History Month and Windrush Day. Again, what have you got against these events specifically? Reform's new county leader Dan Harrison said the changes to flag flying protocols were to celebrate British values and unite us all. How does celebrating British values unite us all? How does you technically uniting people when you are dismissing events? Dismissing events. You're dismissing the LGBTQ plus people. You're dismissing Gypsy Roma. You're dismissing Windrush. You're dismissing Traveller History and others. How is that celebrating British values and uniting people? Isn't that more dividing? Some staff groups at the council where reformed a minority administration following May's local election raised concerns about the move. Harrison described the 8-minute cabinet meeting, which had the only flag policy on the agenda, as historic. So they had an 8-minute cabinet meeting, and the only policy they had on the agenda was flags. Nothing else. And apparently it was described as historic. Okay. He said people were rightly asking, why are we changing this protocol? It's important to understand the importance of reconciliation of national identity, our heritage, our culture, and celebrating British values, which is what unites us all. This move protocol allows us to do this. How does dismissing other flags does this? Explain. Again, like, how does this unite people? So under the new rules, Harrison said the Union flag and the County Council's own flag would fly permanently over the 2 free flag poles outside County Hall. The St George's flag would fly from the 3rd pole, he said, unless it was replaced with a County Lord Lieutenant's flag when they were in the building. He said a full flagpole in County Hall's quadrangle could be used to mark events such as Armed Forces Day, Commonwealth Day and Armistice Day. Decisions on flying all other flags are to be delegated to Council Chief Executive John Simmons after discussions with the leader. Joint Lenter, representatives for LGBTQ+, disabled and BMME staff said they had not been properly consulted on the change. Yeah, because reform doesn't like talking to people. Yeah? That see here, this right here this is the problem with. They talk about uniting people. Isn't it? That's what reforms say, right? If you're a reform subscriber, you're like, yeah, reform wants to bring people together. Well, they didn't even consult on the people they removed their flags from. How is that uniting people? Quote, we feel the lack of time between our understanding of this event and the meeting taking place has hampered our ability to communicate and promote the voices of those in our staff networks and beyond, they said. They said they represented more than 400 council staff and asked their administration to consider the impact of changes on employee morale. The letter added, we will recommend the cabinet members reflect on the purpose of flying flags as local authority. It is an example of the public sector equality's duty or legal requirement to foster good relations between people who share protective characteristics and those who don't. Opposition Conservative Group leader Deborah Taylor called the meeting very strange and said staff in support groups and a number of staff here and should be listened to. This is a Conservative, by the way. Yeah. She added, staff that are committed to Leicestershire residents and Leicestershire County Council have not had their voices heard, and I think that's terrible. Harrison said she will meet staff group representatives to discuss the new protocol. But you've already made the decision on the protocol without even consulting people. And right here, you have a Conservative here, Deborah Taylor here, saying, very strange, not even consulting people. And yet, Reform in this council are saying they're talking about uniting people. Yeah, it doesn't make sense, does it? It doesn't make sense at all. Yeah. So clearly they and the fact that they spent 8 minutes in a cabinet meeting calling it historic, talking about changes to flags, which is one of the most quite pathetic really, when they got so many more other important jobs and roles to be doing, and they want to just prioritize culture wars, because that's essentially what they're doing here over flags. There's no need to make any changes. There was no need to make these changes to the flags. All you've done is stigmatize a certain section of society for no reason whatsoever. That's all they've done. They've not saved any money. They've not brought people together. It's just culture wars is all they've done with this story. But maybe some of you disagree. Maybe some of you think that dealing with changing the colours on the flags and the flags you have outside the council building is more important than dealing with, I don't know, the cost of living crisis, our national healthcare service, immigration and crime, But no, they're not as important as flag changing as maybe some reform voters will try to defend in the comments down below. But maybe some of you are listening to this actually agree with me, that think that this is a complete nonce waste of time by Reform and they should not be doing this. Let me know your thoughts and more as well down in the comments. If you found this video informative or helpful in any way, hit that like button, share across social media, subscribe if you haven't already. Check out Rumble and Patreon for exclusive content as well. And if you want to financially support me, hit that join button down below to become a YouTube member. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.